Hello, one and all, and welcome back, yes back, to the Great Unknown Audio Show, with me, your illustrious host, and most appropriate face for radio, Maxim Jennings, and joining me, my long-term friend and travel companion, it's Mr. Nikolai Brown. Nick, how are we doing?
Salad cap or cup of chai.
That's thank you.
What's hello?
Sabida.
Sabida.
Yes.
Sabida.
Yes, and welcome to Laos, ladies and gentlemen. The first communist state that Nick and I have both ever visited. We've been here for a grand total of 4 hours. We finished our endeavours in Chiang Rai after a day of recovery because the game was at 2 a.m. in the morning, the latest slot for what the Euros games have been, obviously with it being the final on a Sunday. So we didn't get back into our room until about, must have been half 4, Nick, yeah.
Yeah, disgusting, really.
A quick exit after England's defeat.
Yeah.
And yeah, we had a day to digest. And then and recover, and now we've gone straight from Chiang Rai over the border to Laos. Our first land border that we've done since the turn of the year. Not too bad of an experience, really. We took the public bus.
Did India and Nepal.
Oh yeah, you are right. Sorry, the second land border we've crossed. But yeah, it was a grand total of 140 Thai baht to get to the border, which is about £3, give or take a few baht. And yeah, really stress-free experience. We made our way to the border. Nick tried to claim that he had been travelling as a Russian the whole time, so he wouldn't have to pay the visa fee.
Yeah, you've said immediately. You've said it wrong. So here's the issue. I get to the border. I have a Russian passport, a pretty useless passport. But the one time it is useful is here in Southeast Asia. Like, Russians are visa-free for Laos, Vietnam, maybe Cambodia, I'm not too sure. Same with China, visa-free there. So, I wanted to enter Laos without getting a visa. I have my Russian passport. I showed them my Russian passport. They're like, no. I was like, okay, you need evidence that I've been in Thailand. Here you go, here's my British passport. I've got 2 stamps from Thailand. You can see I've come from there. So, I'm entering now with my Russian passport. I've got a problem there? Yes. So basically, they didn't give any good reasoning. They just said, go to the visa office, get a visa. Basically, give us money.
Yeah, you have to pay $40 to enter Laos, or you could pay that in Thai money. But that's pretty standard across most less economically developed countries. It was the same when we were in Nicaragua. We had to pay a few dollars to get in there. Not as substantial as this, but the visa does last for almost 2 months, which is pretty good for travellers. Whereas if Nick had managed to get his Russian passport working, he would have been able to stay in the country for 14 days for free, which would have been pretty handy. So unlucky, mate.
I guess I can cry more.
Yeah, but no matter. We are here now. We've got a really fun activity lined up for tomorrow, but we'll just introduce you to our meal of the show, which is a Lao Hotpot.
A Lao
Hotpot at the night market in the town of Hoi Jai. Am I saying that right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think there are many Laotians who are going to be listening to this podcast, but we try our best anyway to pronounce it as properly as we can. And from my endeavours in New Zealand, I learned that 99.9% of the time I would get it completely wrong. So apologies for that. Anyway,
I'm 1% Asian though, so I do pronounce things slightly better because my DNA maybe.
Your DNA made you pronounce things better?
Yeah.
How do you suppose you got that fact from? Bloody hell, useless. Anyway, Lao Hotpot. So we basically turn up to this place. Loads of locals here, great sign. And then there's a one of those camper hobs on every table, just like the ones I had in New Zealand in the van. And there's just a kind of an array of ingredients, and you just choose the ingredients that are nice and fresh, all covered up to block the flies out.
Which are in there.
Yeah, which are part of the ingredients. And by the way, that is quite hot. Spicy. It's just against my lips. Like, it's not bad in the mouth, but it's just all the chili is just in my lips.
Right.
And yeah, you just pick and choose what you want. You then put it in a big bowl, light up this pot.
I'm sure your listeners have had Hotpot.
Well, I've never had a hot pot before, and I like to think that I'm more well-travelled than at least some of the people listening here. So I'm just explaining the process, because I'm sure when you have hot pots in the UK, you don't just pick and choose the ingredients, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm wrong then. But yeah, we've got a variety of different vegetables in here, some meats and some sauce, and it's really good. This isn't our first meal of the night. Funny enough, we ran into my friends from uni again, who I'd met up with in Perth, but Nick wasn't there, and so he got the delight of meeting them again, Emily and Elliot, who had just done the Low Gibbon experience, which is like an adult's playground from the sounds of it, where you do a bunch of...
Monkey.
Yeah, you monkey around, you take a bunch of zip lines, you stay in the world's highest treehouse, which seemed pretty cool, and take like a zip line at 1,500 feet, which is pretty bloody high. Great view of the jungle, rainforest. So they did that, and they got in and out of Laos as quickly as you could say Keir Starmer for Prime Minister. But yeah, great to see them.
Or Liz Truss as Prime Minister.
Or Liz Truss, yeah, they were probably in power for longer than Liz Truss was.
Oh, the mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
Nonetheless.
Yeah.
And the whatever the hell that is.
So good to see them. We're kind of going into this blindly price-wise because there were no values anywhere, but the Lao kip, is that what it's called, Nick?
Yeah.
The currency, the Lao kip, is you can very quickly get up into the millions. So I took out 2 million kip, which is a grand total of £60, and that was the highest option on the ATM. So I think that gives you a good indicator as to how hopefully relatively cheap it is here. Hence why we could have a second meal, which we've been doing in Thailand anyway. And so yeah, tomorrow we are going to be going on great use of English there, on a slow boat, which basically takes you from this border town, Huaiji, down to Luang Prabang, which is the capital. And the slow boat takes you down the Mekong River, which is the river.
Former capital,
Luang Prabang. Biggest city?
Don't know about
Don't know about that one, Chief. So anyway, we're taking the slow boat, which is 2 days long, and you basically have a seat on a boat, and I think I might have mentioned this before, and you gradually go down the Mekong River that separates Thailand and Laos. Is that right? For a period of it?
that. Sorry?
It separates Thailand and Laos?
Yeah. In the north.
Yeah, so it's meant to be a very tranquil, peaceful journey. You then get off at a place called Pak Beng, where you stay overnight, so you don't stay on the boat, thankfully, because it would be absolute mosquito hell. And then get back on the boat early in the morning, take your way down to Luang Prabang. And hopefully along the way we meet a few decent travellers, hopefully no weirdos. I'm sure there's going to be loads of weirdos. Hopefully no hippies. And get our first real experience of Laotian tourism. So that's going to be exciting. And this is a good fact for you here, folks. The first time that malaria has come into the atmosphere.
It's free.
Where it could be quite lethal if we hadn't have bought our £70 worth of malaria tablets all those months ago in January.
I bought them in September last year.
Okay, well, hopefully they didn't go out of date at that time. So,
fuck yeah. So think about that. I think they're like.
I think they lost a few years. Hopefully, but yeah. So malaria is in the picture here, and it will be interesting to see because in Chiang Rai got a bit to hell, and so did Nick, and we're not that far away from there. So it'll be interesting to see how prominent these mosquitoes are, and hopefully none of their bites are fatal.
This beef's good, eh?
Yeah. So yeah, we put some baconish pork and some. It almost looked a bit like beef carpaccio into the hot pot. with a variety of other ingredients. We should put this in. This could be kidney, actually. Come on, you
I
got.
don't know if I want to have that.
Why? It's not. It's like it's raw.
I'm going to boil it until it's very well done.
Yeah, we're trying at least one of the kind of things on a stick, because both of us still have a pretty bad PTSD from Phuket and
Pooing my cat
Yeah.
out. Sorry, that made no sense.
poo toilets. And so we've been quite reluctant to try the majority of street food. If they get that blowtorch out, I would be running. But this stuff is raw. Should be fine.
Well, we can only blame ourselves because we're cooking.
Yeah, we made the decision. So if it's not cooked, it's only down to us, which is where you want to be. Is there anything else you want to make the listeners aware of?
Southgate's left.
Yep. Anything related to our travels?
I handed my rental bike back the other day.
Yeah.
And the lady most certainly scammed me. Apparently it cost £70 for repairs for when Maxim made me crash. Wasn't happy about that. But then I dropped that bike off, collected a new one, and then I drove from Pai to Chiang Mai, so I could get the bus from Chiang Mai to Chiang Rai. A lot of Changs, appreciate it, but bear with me. So I did a 3-hour drive on the moped, about 100 miles through mountainous jungle, and it was freaking sick.
Yeah.
So that was certainly one of the highlights of Thailand for me. Even though it was only 3 hours, amazing, loved it.
Well, anyway, folks, that's a good place for us to stop for this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, you'll hear from us in the next one. Goodbye.